Hi everybody, I'm Paul, and we're here to do the first video on the PRS Acoustics. We're finally going to spill the beans about why a lot of the design in the guitar is different than the norm, and to discuss each aspect. So, to get started, and I'll probably start right at the head, we got our hands on a Torres, an Antonio Torres acoustic guitar, and it was a very small guitar. It was loaded with braces and it was really loud, and it was beautiful sounding. It was one of the best musical instruments I'd ever heard. And we x-rayed the guitar trying to figure out not why was it braced the way it is, but what was he thinking, because it was counterintuitive. You looked in the guitar, it was full of braces and it was really loud, and wasn't very much air in it. It was about 3 inches deep. It was really small, made out of maple, and it had lots of bass. And we came to the conclusion that he was thinking more speaker cabinet than double diaphragm instrument. He didn't want the back and the sides to vibrate. He wanted the top to go nuts. And so we came up with a bracing pattern, which is like this on the back. This would be a raw back without the bracing. And this is braced, and you can see it's very heavily braced to get the back to reflect all the sound out, to not move. It really is braced much more like a speaker cabinet. These are mahogany braces. They're not made of spruce. The back is not intended to vibrate. It's intended to be locked down. Same thing with the sides. If you look at the sides, you can see in here all the braces. We've done everything we can do to lock it down, to make it reflect the sound out. So when it came to the top, we wanted to have some of that classical sound in a steel string, and we ended up putting fan bracing in the back of the guitar. You know, we've measured the volume of these things, and on average they're 5 dB louder than a lot of other guitars that we come across. And this is part of what's going on. This whole section, this section is meant to vibrate. The top is thinner than is the accepted norm, and it's braced differently. So this is really kind of a cross bracing between the X brace, which makes the top not come up over time, keeps the tension that's put on by the bridge and the strings, which is tremendous, from ruining the top. And then this is intended to make sure the whole thing vibrates beautifully. Then we had to go and start getting materials. And one of the problems is I didn't want the guitar to have a truss rod, because all these old instruments that were beloved, old Martins, old Torreses, they didn't have a truss rod, and they had a strength rod. And so we were able to put a graphite rod in the neck that just doesn't bend. And if you listen to this thing, I'm going to put it up close to the microphone. You can hear, and the other way, there's a beautiful, beautiful note to it. You can hear it ring, and it just doesn't bend. So that's inserted here in the neck, and we use a very, very hard piece of mahogany that rings beautifully. So the whole goal here is that the neck doesn't have a bolt through it. It's got extraordinary strength on its own, and it rings really well. To that, we'll glue on a Coca-Cola fretboard or an ebony fretboard, that kind of thing. The sides and the backs generally are made from either mahogany or Coca-Cola. We like Coca-Cola because it reflects the sound so well. It's a little heavier than most rosewoods, but it has extraordinary grain, and it reflects the sound out. We're trying to get these things to project, to be as loud as they possibly can.